Okay, welcome everybody to this product training webinar focusing on the V3 system. So first, before I start, I must say a huge thank you to John Burgess for his very, very informative webinar last night on Purify system. And really what we're doing now is looking at the next stage on beyond purification. So the V3 system is the vital three. The vital three comprising of product that will activate nitric oxide, a product that will reduce acidity in the body, and a product that will reduce inflammation. And these are all 21st century issues that we are dealing with because of the way that we are now functioning on a day-to-day basis, the way we're now living our lives. So what the scientists and researchers at the Hughes Centre for Research and Innovation at Synergy Worldwide have done is carefully engineer proprietary solutions designed to purify and protect the body. That's the corporate bit done. We will now focus on the stuff that you want to know about, the nitty-gritty of these three products that come together really, really nicely to create elite health, optimal health, as John spoke about last night. Elite health is the pinnacle of wellness, where age doesn't dictate ability. If you have purified, first of all, and followed the process, and then you go on to protect the body, the V3 system is a perfect way to protect the body. So let's look at the products in a little bit more detail. So let's start with Pro-Arginine, because Pro-Arginine, in my opinion, is the nicest product of the three of them, although they are all absolutely beautiful. It's hard to decide, but I would say Pro-Arginine is up there, simply because of the ingredients that are in Pro-Arginine. When I first came across Pro-Arginine, I was working quite comprehensively with a lot of menopausal women, with a lot of women who struggled with hormone imbalances. And those vitamins that you can see listed there, vitamin C, D3, B6, B9, B12, I was using those with my menopausal clients in separate bottles. So I loved the fact that Pro-Arginine provided me with those vitamins in one sachet. So it became more like a multivitamin than anything else. But it is so much more than a multivitamin. So let's look at the different individual ingredients. Pro-Arginine is a product that has been designed to improve circulation, reduce cholesterol, regulate BP, blood pressure. That was what it was designed for originally, but it goes beyond that in so many ways. It's so effective at distributing nutrients around the body that in doing so it's able to heal so many conditions that perhaps we've maybe not been able to look at. So anecdotally, things like shoulder discomfort that my mum experienced for many, many years until she started taking Pro-Arginine, and on a sachet of Pro-Arginine a day, that shoulder pain disappeared completely because the Pro-Arginine was able to get more nutrients to the site of the pain and then reduce the inflammation. But also, it's so good at clearing waste out of muscles. It activates growth hormone. There's so much that it does, which we'll explore in a little bit more detail as we go along. It is patent pending, it is clinically trialed, and it is proven to help improve circulation, reduce cholesterol, and improve blood pressure, regulate blood pressure. Now, maybe low blood pressure or high blood pressure. So let's look at the products in the ingredients individually. So L-arginine is an amino acid. It is an amino acid that activates the production of nitric oxide. Now, I'm going to look at nitric oxide in just a minute. I want to look at the product ingredients first. It activates the production of nitric oxide. If you're not muted, could you please press your green mute button for me? It's because I'm getting some feedback, sorry. So L-arginine activates the production of nitric oxide. It's an amino acid. And we have had L-arginine in our diet for many, many years. However, our diet in 21st century life is depleting in its quality, which means the sources of L-arginine that we are exposed to through our diet on a day-to-day basis is also decreasing. Now, when we talk about nitric oxide, you'll understand why supplementing with L-arginine is a really, really important element in any kind of balanced health regime. We need 5 grams of L-arginine for effective nitric oxide production. Now, this is really interesting because if you don't have 5 grams per serving of L-arginine, you don't effectively activate nitric oxide production. Now, I had a client who decided that she didn't want to spend money on proarginine. What she wanted to do was go and buy a multivitamin, and she was going to buy L-arginine separately. So she bought a fairly good quality L-arginine supplement. It was simply L-arginine. There was nothing else in that bottle, but it was only 1 gram. So 1 gram per tablet with her multivitamin. That was going to have no role in her body at all in activating nitric oxide, because you need 5 grams per serving to activate L-arginine, to activate nitric oxide in the body. So when we worked it out, actually, what she was spending on 1 gram of L-arginine, if she'd taken 5 of the tablets, she was spending a huge amount more money on her L-arginine and her multivitamin than she would have done had she just bought proarginine. So sometimes economies are false economies. Low-grade substitutes don't always provide the solution. So it's really important to understand that 5 grams per serving is what is needed to activate nitric oxide. The L-arginine in proarginine comes from a natural source, tapioca root. And good old Mr. Google, and I'm covering all these things as we go along, good old Mr. Google, if you Google the impact of L-arginine in the body, Mr. Google will come back and say, oh, often it can cause all sorts of responses like herpes and various other things. That is if you get your L-arginine from overdosed L-arginine from meat sources. If it comes from a vegetable source like tapioca root, L-arginine will not have any impact in the body other than to activate the production of nitric oxide. And then we've got L-citrulline in there. Now, these 2 amino acids are together for a particular reason, and that is because L-citrulline will convert into L-arginine over a 12-hour period. And the L-arginine that is in the 5 gram portion will basically activate nitric oxide for about 2 hours. And in that 2 hours, you then need to have another source. You either need to take more L-arginine, or in this case, you have L-citrulline in there, which will convert through the same metabolic pathways into L-arginine. So you have a 12-hour supply of L-arginine, which means you have a 12-hour supply of nitric oxide. So you've got this whole sachet of loveliness, in my opinion, combined together, synergistically pulled together to be able to provide the body with 12 hours of support as far as nitric oxide is concerned. But then you've got all these other beautiful vitamins in there as well that do so much for the body. So we've got vitamin C, which is a natural antioxidant. It improves and supports our immune system, and it also reduces the oxidation of the nitric oxide when it's produced. And I'll talk about oxidation in a bit more detail in a minute. You've got vitamin D3 in there, which improves cardiovascular function. It also improves blood sugar balance and supports immunity, but it also helps with calcium absorption across the gut wall. And calcium serum in our blood is really, really important for supporting heart function. So it's a nutrient that's in there to be able to continue to support the cardiovascular system, which is exactly what proarginine was designed to do. So this is all carefully manufactured to make sure that it's the right balance of nutrients in the right amount. You've got B6 in there, which is also known as pyridoxine. It protects the red blood cells. It improves protein metabolism. And from my perspective, it helps to balance hormones and is a natural antidepressant. So you can start to get where I'm coming from. I'm talking about proarginine being more of a multivitamin in many cases, as well as the added benefit of nitric oxide production. You've got B9 in there, which is folic acid. That also protects red blood cells, and it also reduces homocysteine buildup in the system. Homocysteine is a marker in the blood to indicate that there is something wrong in the body. So B9 is really important to help manage homocysteine levels, but it also helps to reduce the risk of dementia. So you've got a product that is helping to improve dementia, Alzheimer's, improve the nutrient passing across the blood-brain barrier. So again, not only are we looking at cardiovascular function, we're looking at all the other things that come as a result of impaired cardiovascular system. And if we can use these nutrients in this product, we're going to have a knock-on effect right the way across the rest of the body. You've also got B12, which is also known as cobalamin, which I always struggle to say, and that helps to carry oxygen around the body, but it also helps with the production of serotonin in the body and helps to improve mood. So when someone is taking pro-arginine, often a side effect, and if someone's struggling with low mood, often a side effect will be that their mood lifts through the course of the morning as their body starts to absorb some of these nutrients. And then lastly, we've got K2, vitamin K2, and it's really important to distinguish between K1 and K2. So if someone is on statins, they will be warned by the doctor not to take vitamin K. Actually, what they will be warned about is not to take vitamin K1. And vitamin K comes in all sorts of forms, in spinach, in green vegetables, in lentils. You find vitamin K in all sorts of sources. And K1 is the vitamin the vitamin K that will interfere with statins. But K2 doesn't have an impact on statins at all. So it's really important to make sure that you are outlining that to clients when they first start taking pro-arginine. The vitamin K2 is the vitamin K that is in pro-arginine. And vitamin K2 helps to prevent heart disease, helps to control blood clotting. It is also in need of a very healthy microbiome in the intestine for its activation. So one of the reasons why we purify first and support the microbiome is because then if we're able to produce vitamin K2 effectively, then that is going to have an impact across the body. It has a huge role as well in the absorption of calcium for the calcium serum production, which I talked about earlier on, which allows for effective heartbeat and allows for the control of cardiovascular disease as well. So all these nutrients come together synergistically to create a product that supports the cardiovascular system. But the cardiovascular system, being the main system in the body, then obviously has a huge ripple effect onto all the other systems, because we're improving the nutrient distribution to those systems and we're improving the healing process that the body can go through. So let's talk about nitric oxide. Nitric oxide was discovered in 1998. Well, actually, it was discovered before that, but it received a Nobel Peace Prize in 1998. The scientists that discovered it received the Nobel Peace Prize. And since then, we've seen a massive increase in products that will improve nitric oxide in the body. Whether it's in the fitness industry, whether it's in the health industry, there are lots of products out there that claim to increase nitric oxide production. And as I say, you need to be very careful. You need the right ingredients to activate nitric oxide and to maintain that nitric oxide in the body. If you are boosting your nitric oxide production and then it's dropping off 2 hours later, and then you're boosting it again 12 hours later and it's dropping off 2 hours after that, you've got this peak and trough of nitric oxide. You've got a dilation, contraction of the cardiovascular system. That is an extra stress on the heart, which you don't want. So you want to be able to have this constant drip feed of nitric oxide in the body. So nitric oxide, for those of you who don't understand what nitric oxide is natural gas that is produced by the endothelial cells in the cardiovascular system. And it's produced and is activated by the presence of L-arginine, that amino acid that we talked about just now. And as we age, nitric oxide production decreases. So from about 25 onwards, our nitric oxide production is at its peak. And after that, it starts to decline by about 1% a year. And that is cumulative. So by the time you're getting into your 40s and your 50s, your nitric oxide production is really starting to reduce. So you need to give your body every opportunity to continue producing nitric oxide. As I said, nitric oxide is a gas. It dilates the cardiovascular system, but it also helps to clean the walls of the arteries, to get rid of any plaque and waste on the wall of the arteries. It helps to reduce stress on the heart. It helps to balance blood sugar levels. It helps to improve energy levels. It has a myriad of roles in the body, unseen roles essentially. It affects all systems in the body. If our nitric oxide production is decreasing, it will make us feel tired to start with. Our cardiovascular system isn't functioning effectively. It will put pressure on the heart. It might mean we become more sedentary because we haven't got much energy, which will then reduce our cardiovascular function further, which will cause more plaque buildup on the wall of the arteries, and so it goes on. So by skyrocketing our nitric oxide production, we can turn our cardiovascular system into a 3-lane highway. So we can dilate it, and if you imagine what a motorway is like, you've got the slow lane and the middle lane, and then you've got the fast lane. And by dilating it into a 3-lane highway, you can get nutrients down that fast lane to be delivered where they are needed, basically, without worrying about plaque and deposits that are going to compromise how the body can get nutrients around. The body's very, very clever, and it can heal itself, but it needs the right nutrients to do that, and it needs the right nutrients in the right place. And the cardiovascular system is the mechanism by which we are able to achieve that. So by increasing our nitric oxide production in our cardiovascular system, we can reduce the amount of plaque on the walls of our arteries. We can clear waste off the walls of the arteries. And what we say there, and this is another analogy that I like to use, is that essentially we're repointing by increasing nitric oxide. We can clear off all the rubbish. So if you imagine an old wall that has been left to decline over years and years, and it's full of moss and it's got cracks in the cement and it's starting to crumble, that's what the inside of the arteries can become like if we live a sedentary lifestyle, if we smoke, if our diet isn't that great. All of these things can influence the functioning of the cardiovascular system and the production of nitric oxide. So by increasing our nitric oxide production, we can clear away all that moss, and we can give the wall a good scrub, and then we can start to repoint the walls of the cardiovascular system. So we start to see, imagine a house that's been crumbling, and then it's all cleared off and repointed, and it looks like a new house again. So you can revitalize essentially the cardiovascular system by increasing the amount of nitric oxide production that the body is taking on board. So nitric oxide is a vital substance that the body creates naturally, but it creates it with the presence of L-arginine. And so by taking pro-arginine with these other nutrients in there for the synergistic effect to mean that the nitric oxide is not damaged when it's produced, then we can really start to help someone improve the functioning of their cardiovascular system. So it's not only improving circulation, reducing cholesterol, and regulating blood pressure. There are so many other benefits to pro-arginine. And greater energy levels, better sleep because it activates growth hormone. Growth hormone is only produced when we sleep, and if we go into a deep sleep, we can produce more growth hormone. And pro-arginine helps us get to that deep sleep state. Much greater mental clarity, something to do with the B9 that improves the kind of thought pathways in the brain, can help reduce our fatigue. It can increase our ability to exercise, which can only have a knock-on effect to the cardiovascular system. It can improve healthy sexual performance. It has a great role to play. It's a kind of natural Viagra, if you like, if that's what you'd like to use it for, because we have nitric oxide receptors at the bottom of the sexual organs for men, which means that we can increase and dilate the arteries and capillaries, and that where it's needed for sexual performance to be raised. It can reduce body fat. It can increase lean muscle tissue. So in reducing body fat, it keeps insulin levels low and pushes growth hormone high, because pro-arginine has a role to play in keeping blood sugars balanced. It can increase lean muscle development because it has a role to play with growth hormone. So it's all about how the hormones interact. If your insulin levels are low, your growth hormone production can be raised, which means you can increase your lean muscle development, but you can also become more effective at fat burning. It can improve the immune function. We talked about that in relation to vitamin C. It can send you into a better, deeper quality sleep. It can improve skin conditions because it's getting nutrients to the skin to help reduce inflammation. It can improve joint and muscle pain. I already talked about how my mum had a really sore shoulder that never went away, and she'd had pain in her shoulder for years and years and years. And when using pro-arginine, after about 3 months, she noticed, and it took her 3 months to notice that the pain was no longer there. And often that is the case. We don't notice it's gone until a few months later. So Pro-Arginine, an absolutely fantastic product, one that I personally would not be without. If my house was burning down and I was allowed to take one thing with me, it would probably be my Pro-Arginine, obviously aside from my children and my husband. So Pro-Arginine is listed in the Physician's Desk Reference, the 2017 US Physician's Desk Reference. This is like the Bible for physicians in the States. So they will refer to this reference guide for any conditions, and it is the only L-arginine supplement that is listed in that Physician's Desk Reference. So this is really, really important because it's being recognised by physicians in the US as being a tool in their kit box that they can use to help improve cardiovascular function and heart health, basically. So we have at our fingertips a very, very powerful product that gets incredible results. Now we'll talk about dosage for it at the end, when I'll talk about all three together and how you can use all three together. So Pro-Arginine, a product that I would say is something that pretty much everybody over 40 should be using on a regular basis to support their cardiovascular system. And then the second product in the V3 system is Mistify. Mistify is our antioxidant cordial, which helps to reduce inflammation in the system. So first of all, before we dive into this, we need to understand what causes inflammation in the first place. So inflammation is caused by free radical damage, and every metabolic process the body goes through leads to free radical damage, which is fine if we are taking on board a lot of good quality antioxidants. But as I said before, 21st century life means that we are not taking on board as many nutrients as we should be taking to support our lifestyle as it is now. So we've got increased stress, which puts more pressure on the metabolic system. We've got increased pollution, which puts more pressure on the metabolic system. We've got exposure to far many more stressful situations, inflammatory situations than ever before. And we need to counter that by keeping that inflammation under control. So when they talk about the 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day, we're actually looking at kind of 11, and we're looking at that amount needed to counteract 21st century life and the inflammatory impact that it has on the body. So free radicals are caused by every metabolic process, and what happens is they are very volatile molecules and they need an electron to stabilize themselves, and they will steal electrons from healthy tissue. So free radical damage essentially is the aging process. It's the natural aging process, but it's being speeded up by the fact that we are not consuming enough antioxidants and we are living a life that's far more high-powered and fast-paced than ever before. So by taking on board more antioxidants, what antioxidants do is they have an electron on them that they will donate to the free radical, so that it neutralizes the free radical and the body can detoxify and get rid of them out of the system. So by taking a shot of Mistify every day, you can take on board the antioxidant power of about 3.5 kilograms of fruit, which is massive. And you can really reduce the inflammatory effect that 21st century life has in the body. So when we're talking about taking Mistify, we're looking at enhancing our mental focus. We're looking at supporting our immune system. We are looking at helping to balance our blood sugars, improve our energy levels, improve our cardiovascular system. So when we produce nitric oxide, I talked very briefly that vitamin C is in Pro-Arginine to help reduce free radical damage. Nitric oxide can very easily be oxidated. It can very easily become destroyed. So if we've got lots of antioxidants in this mix that we are taking, we can reduce the impact that the free radicals have on nitric oxide, because the antioxidants will essentially neutralize those free radicals before they get to the nitric oxide to destroy it, basically. So the ingredients we have in there: acai berry, Concord grape, elderberry, red grape, lots and lots of very, very potent, highly powerful antioxidant products, nutrients coming from plant-based. So if we go through a few of those. Cranberry, for example, is great for the supporting the cardiovascular system, but also helps with the urinary tract system. Green tea, green tea, pomegranate, full of all of the key antioxidants that the body needs to help to protect the brain, to reduce the impact of aging, to repair the body when any kind of wound happens, can improve vision as well. So Mistify is very powerful as an anti-inflammatory in the body, but it works as part of the V3 system because it helps to protect nitric oxide production and maintenance. But it has these other benefits as well, you know, mental focus, immunity, blood sugar balance, you name it. It's got a very, very powerful role to play in the body. It's full of antioxidants like polyphenols, flavonoids, anthocyanins, all of which help to reduce free radical damage, reduce inflammation, reverse the aging process, but can also help with things like Alzheimer's, arthritis, even cancers. That we don't like to go down the road of saying that we can reverse that, but it can have a huge impact on helping the body to stay nicely in balance. So in Mistify, you've got these great products that are designed to be together to support each other, but in doing so, what you've got is a product that's very high in amino acids, because those nutrients that are in there, those raw materials that are in there. And in fact, I learned this today, and I didn't know this, that there is the same level of amino acids in a 30ml shot of Mistify as there is in an egg. So there's the same amount of protein in Mistify as there is in eating a hard-boiled egg, which, by the way, I have just eaten with my shot of Mistify. It's got a huge amount of fibre in it because it is fruit, mushed up, basically. It's a very, very good source of zinc and magnesium. It has lots of omega-6 and 9 fats in it, which John touched on yesterday. Alpha-linoleic acid, oleic acid, all very important for cellular integrity and flexibility in the cardiovascular system wall. Lots of plant sterols in there as well, which you will have heard about plant sterols in things like margarines, which actually don't really have a huge amount of benefit to the body, but plant sterols in this form will help to reduce blood plasma cholesterol, the LDL cholesterol that is in the body that can oxidize and become harmful to the system. So Mistify, part of that V3 system, part of a very powerful set of 3 products that every single person should be using, in my opinion, on a day-to-day basis in order to ensure longevity. And then lastly, PhytoLife. PhytoLife is our green cordial drink that we put into water, and everybody should have a pH of about 7.2, 7.3. And with 21st century life, we are becoming more and more acidic. Just simple things like alcohol, caffeine, processed food can all create acidic environments in the body. Some of the first symptoms that come to the surface are gout, but then things like joint pain, arthritis, and other kind of non-infectious chronic diseases that can come to the surface will be because the body is too acidic. It says there 90% of the world's population lives in an unhealthy pH balance. The right pH balance is vital for good health, but it's also vital for liver function. And if the liver is going to function properly, it needs lots of green nutrients. And if it's going to be able to detoxify naturally, then the liver needs to be working properly. So if we're going to clear toxins out of the system, if we're going to get rid of heavy metals out of the body, we need to be doing what we can to support the liver function as well. So chlorophyll or chlorophyllin is basically has the same molecular structure as hemoglobin. So apart from the fact that the central atom in hemoglobin is iron and the central atom in chlorophyll is magnesium, it is a fat-soluble substance. And in this situation, Synergy Worldwide have transferred this central atom to create the chlorophyllin. So it's a copper atom, which makes it much more stable and makes it much more absorbable in a kind of liquid form. They have added peppermint oil to make it much more palatable, but it also then will help with sort of digestion, because peppermint is very powerful in helping with digestion. Now, very interestingly, I use PhytoLife all the time with clients to help reduce acid reflux, because it's very powerful at helping to rebalance the enzymes in the stomach and reduce the impact of acid reflux. So taken after a meal, you can help someone get rid of their acid reflux. And in getting my product knowledge up to speed to deliver this webinar, I was just looking at the different ingredients, and alfalfa has, which is one of the ingredients there that you can see, has lots of enzymes in it that aid healthy digestion. So alfalfa is one of the very powerful, what we call food enzymes, that help to create the right pH balance in the stomach, which will then aid healthy digestion. So not only have we got this system that's supporting the cardiovascular system, and if we purified beforehand so that our microbiome is in balance, we can continue to support our digestive system by using PhytoLife on a regular basis. It's also got barley grass in it, which is very powerful in helping, again, to reduce cholesterol in the blood. And mulberry, another very strong source, powerful source of chlorophyll, but also a very powerful antioxidant, again, will help to reduce oxidation. So PhytoLife can help with, can support the red blood cells. It will help to build immunity. It helps to detox heavy metals out of the body. It helps with liver function. So I already mentioned it helps with our digestive system. It's also a natural deodorizer in the body. So there are lots of very relevant roles that PhytoLife play in the body, other than just creating that alkaline balance of 7.2, 7.3. It can also help to reduce water retention as well. So we know people that struggle with kind of water retention around their ankles, adding PhytoLife into their diet. It's a very benign product and can be used by anyone, basically, to help create the right pH balance in the body. So PhytoLife, Mistify, Pro-Arginine, the V3 system together, very, very powerful, complex range of 3 products that will really help to support long-term elite health. So let's just have a quick look at the dosage, just so that you're aware of how to, when you're talking to someone about taking the V3 system, the kind of guidance that you can give. The daily dose of Pro-Arginine are the kind of standard doses between 1 and 2 sachets. Now, I get a lot of questions from people say, oh, it just says 1 sachet on the side of the box. It's an EU regulation that has to go on there. If you want to get a result from Pro-Arginine, really ideally, you want to be taking between 1 and 2 sachets a day to improve cardiovascular system, to improve nitric oxide production. Taking more than 1 sachet will not harm the body. There are nutrients in there that the body craves, basically. So the more that is taken, up to 2 sachets, the more support you are giving the body. If someone has particularly big issues, like, you know, kind of high blood pressure or huge blood sugar swings, or there is a need for them to take an intensive dose, you can do 3 to 4 sachets over a period of time. Me personally, I wouldn't recommend doing that 3 to 4 sachets more than for about 4 to 6 weeks. You should be able to see a result of doing 3 to 4 sachets a day in that time, and then you can start to bring it back down again. Should be taken on an empty stomach. And the one thing I would say when you start someone on Pro-Arginine initially is to build it up in their system, because what you don't want is for them to go on to 2 sachets a day and have this massive dose of nitric oxide, and all of a sudden their cardiovascular system goes into overdrive. Build it up, half a sachet a day for the first 3 to 4 days, bring in the second half a sachet for the next up to 7 to 8 days, and then perhaps up over 14 days, get it up to 2 sachets a day. But always stay in touch with your clients to make sure in those early days that they are responding to the Pro-Arginine effectively. Now, there is something called the asymmetric dimethyl arginine that the body produces, the ADMA ratio. And basically, ADMA kind of prevents arginine doing the job that it needs to do as far as nitric oxide production is concerned. Some people have higher ADMA levels than others. So if you have a client that's not feeling anything from taking the Pro-Arginine, there's a good chance that their ADMA levels are high and they need to increase the number of sachets that they are taking. So just for you to be aware of that, sometimes can be an issue. Some clients can come back and say, oh, I've been taking 1 sachet a day and it's had no impact whatsoever. That's a good chance that their 1 sachet a day is not having an impact on reducing that ADMA, and therefore not allowing nitric oxide production to be as effective as it should be. Your daily dose of Mistify is 30 mils. If you want an intensive dose to really help reduce inflammation, you can go to 60 mils. But to be honest with you, it's a benign antioxidant cordial. It comes from fruit. I know of people that have taken half bottles at a time because they've been aiming to reduce the amount of inflammation that they have in their body. Take Mistify on an empty stomach. That is the best way to get a result from it. And then lastly, a daily dose of PhytoLife. You're looking at 2 teaspoons twice a day, ideally after you've eaten, to aid digestion. But you can go to a more intensive dose of 3 teaspoons 3 times a day. But again, it's a personal choice. It's a fairly benign product. There are no contraindications with either PhytoLife or Mistify. So you can help someone to take, you can advise someone to take what feels right for them, if it's making them drink more water, if it feels like it's having a purification effect in the body, then they can take what they feel is comfortable. Just before we finish as well, I wanted to just go through a couple of things that you need to be aware of, because if you want to help your client get the best result, you just need to make sure you're outlining a few things at the beginning. So you've got a new client on V3, happy days, but to help them get the best result, make sure you are outlining a couple of things, just pointing them out to them so they know that that is possible, and say it may not happen for you, but I just want you to be aware that this can be a side effect sometimes when you first start on the V3 system. So intestinal quickness, for want of a better term, the speeding up of the intestinal system when you take pro-arginine, because pro-arginine is a vasodilator, it activates the nitric oxide, it's a vasodilator, it can dilate the intestinal system as well, which means you can have faster bowel movements. It's nothing to be frightened of. It does settle down. If a client struggles with it, tell them to drop their dosage down until they find it comes back into alignment. Once it's come back into alignment, then they can gradually increase their dosage again. You can have detox-like symptoms, feeling very tired, lethargic, struggling to get out of bed in the morning on the first few weeks of being on a V3 system. Doesn't happen for everybody, but I've had a couple of clients where it has happened first 10 days and they've got through it, and then their energy levels have really started to rise. People are quick to kind of assume there must be something wrong with it if it's not giving them the result that they want straight away. But what the V3 system is doing is clearing their cardiovascular system, getting rid of waste in the system, and sometimes, therefore, you can have detox-like symptoms. Possible headaches are another side effect. And often the weakest system struggles at first. So if you are, let's say, susceptible to sinus conditions, starting on the V3 system might cause a little bit of sinus issue to start with, but it doesn't mean to say that it's going to stay. It will go. It's just that weaker system can sometimes come to the surface before it clears up. Reassure your client that it is all perfectly normal, and as long as they are aware of those issues beforehand, then they will know to look out for them. As I said, it may not happen. Make sure you instill that it may not happen for them, but if it does, it's all perfectly normal and it's nothing to be frightened of. So the V3 system, in my opinion, a very, very powerful range of 3 products that work very closely together to help the body achieve elite health. If you've purified first and you want to go on to maintain the immune system, to maintain the cardiovascular system, to get hormones into balance, to maybe lose some weight, to improve performance, to increase lean muscle tissue, so many elements that the V3 system can achieve in the body as far as better health and longevity is concerned. So I hope you found that useful. A very, very quick whip through the V3 system, but something that you can keep referring back to and using in future, just to keep reminding yourself of the benefits of using those 3 products together. And then I just want to remind you of the upcoming events. So tomorrow we have the very lovely Kim Bradley sharing with us E9, SLM and Body Prime, those 3 products together. Great products presented by a wonderful person, and you be sure to log on because you will learn more and more. The more you learn, the more you can help people, basically. The more understanding you have of how all these products work together, the more clients you can help. And Kim delivers it in such a fantastic, easy to understand way. And then on Thursday, the very fabulous Sarah Andrews is going to share with us the full Truline program. I know Sarah uses Truline very widely with her clients. She has had a great result with it for herself as well. our probiotic skincare range that is absolutely fantastic in helping people to deal with skin conditions. So do log on Thursday the 8th to listen to Sarah. She's a font of information when it comes to Trillium, and I'm always in awe of her because she knows so much and she can retain it, and Trillium always just goes over my head. So although I use it and I absolutely adore it, I still don't really understand what's in it, but Sarah does, and she will guide you through it. She'll do a brilliant job. And then on Saturday, the 8th of December, we have our Business Accelerator Academy Day, which is our training day, focusing on the business. And we have Stefan Thomas, who is who's a very, very powerful speaker and helps people to understand how to kind of engage the room and how to communicate better with people, and has written a number of books around network marketing as well. And he will be sharing with us a number of sessions during that day that will really help you understand how you can communicate better with potential customers, communicate better with potential team members, and really start to build your business effectively through what we're calling the art of conversation. That is the title for the day. So make sure you look out for the Eventbrite link that should be with us by the end of this week, and get yourself booked on that Accelerator Academy Day. It's in the Midlands area, so we're hoping that everyone can, different parts of the country can be able to access it. So lastly, it just needs me to say thank you to all of you for listening in this evening. I really do appreciate your time and giving up the 40 odd minutes on a Tuesday evening to understand the V3 system in more detail. And again, thank you to Kim, John and Sarah for sharing all their knowledge through the course of this week as well. We all do really appreciate it. So have a great rest of the evening, and I will look forward to speaking with you all soon, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.